Hi everyone, I hope you all. This is CoinsKid. I'm just going to dive into Bitcoin. Once again, thank you for your support. Okay, so Bitcoin right now is dropping back a little bit, but it's holding a really key level of support at the moment. Okay, it's doing really well, to be honest with you. And yeah, if we do start to roll under this 0618, because you can see we've literally come down and wicked off it at the moment, so it's holding us really strong support. Now, if we was to roll out of this channel, you know, it would be having a correction, and that would be amazing. You know, I would like to see that, to be honest with you. You know, and it would coincide with some of the corrections that we are anticipating on alts leading into September. So we did have a bit of a dumpy day yesterday, but we're still making a higher low and a higher high at the moment, and we are conforming to some kind of structure, you know, on the hourly and the daily time frame and the 4-hourly time frame as well. You know, you're above the EMAs on the weekly. You've got a beautiful golden cross here where the 10 crosses the 20. I mean, the last time we did that, okay, after a corrective wave was down here. We had this corrective wave 2. You know, we anticipate this wave 1 high, wave 2. In here we had this ABC correction. You can see that when we picked up, we started to create that beautiful buy and go to the beach signal just there from CoinsKid. Okay, you got that where the 10 crossed to 20, boom, and it was off. And then obviously you had the unforeseeable black swan just there. You know, ignore this. This is an anomaly. You can't bring this into your charts really, because it is an anomaly, and it's how strong Bitcoin was that, you know, it immediately recovered basically. So what I think, and this is something that I've got my eyes on moving forward, obviously if we roll over and lose key levels of support, the direction changes, but at the moment I think we are moving forward. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of experts in the field lay down their predictions as well. I personally think that we're on a walk to 107k basically, and I'll tell you why. I think that what we're doing is we're on our way to 107k, and I think that once we break that high, we will start to go relatively parabolic towards the end of the year here, and we might see the end of the year off at $107,000 per Bitcoin. It is a thought experiment, okay? I do think that we'll do that, and at that point everyone's going to think we're entering a bear market, but I think we're going to have a retracement where we're going to double up and go to 200k by potentially May of next year, roughly around that sort of time frame, okay? Because I think that, just like Willy Woo says, I think that this cycle is maybe a super cycle, and we're not going to actually have a massive bear market. Possibly. I think that crypto is more evolved now than it is, and it's becoming less speculative. It is still extremely volatile. I'm not gonna you know, deny that. There is still a lot of speculation in the space, but there's more use case now. I did read an article yesterday saying that 17% of all Americans own Bitcoin. Okay, only 50% of all Americans own stocks. Think about that. It's moving, it's transitioning, isn't it? And you know, you've got Michael Sayer yesterday as well. Look at this tweet that I found. I did a retweet. Do check out my Twitter. So this particular tweet just there from Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy has purchased an additional 3,907 bitcoins for $170 million in cash at an average price of $45,294 per bitcoin. As of the 23rd of, you do that in America, you sort of have the dates backwards, I don't know why, but yeah, the 23rd of August, we hodl 108,992 bitcoins acquired for 2.98 billion at an average price of 26,769 per bitcoin. So yeah, he's hoarding. And also equally, you know, there was this tweet here from Blockworks. 65% of crypto hedge funds predict Bitcoin's price will be between 50,000 and 100,000 by the end of the year. Okay, and this pretty much is the sort of road that I think we're on. I think we're on a road to 100k by the end of the year. I might be completely wrong. We might go super parabolic and hit the 200k by the end of the year. But I think we're on a drunken walk, just like Willy Woo describes. I think Bitcoin's on a drunken walk to 100k here, where you're going to get rejected at that particular level, 107k, because that's your next impulsive wave up, okay, which I've shown you in previous Bitcoin videos. I do think at that point we'll get a retracement, and then we'll carry on, and we'll have that, you know, super parabolic blow off top where we will sort of come down into a bear, but not necessarily as deep as people anticipate. I think at that point, you know, when Bitcoin's up there at 200k or 100k plus, it has to be taken seriously, and I don't think you'll enter that multi-year sort of 85% bear market for Bitcoin. I think you might see it sort of correct like 20% or something like that, but who knows? It's just a thought experiment, you know, and at that point it would sort of taken more seriously, and everyone will want a piece of the pie, won't they? But yeah, I mean, the on-chain analytics are pointing to to more upside. Everything's pointing to more upside. The charts are painting more upside. So it's looking good. But, you know, you're getting a little bit overextended and coming back to build up momentum for the next impulsive wave up is what you need, basically, to break this key level of resistance right here for Bitcoin. You know, and I do think, like I've said to you, once you do break this level of resistance that is here, it's run into a bit of a brick wall at the moment, but you're coming back to refuel the energy rockets, to just melt through this level of resistance. So I do think that once you get through that resistance right there for Bitcoin, I do think potentially you're just going to absolutely take off here and go to the top end of 58k. At that point, you know, I'm expecting a retest of this white line, which is your previous head and shoulders, which I've shown you on the daily time frame right there. You know, so it's a thought experiment. I'm going to lay down the last time we broke an all-time high. So the last time we broke an all-time high was obviously in the 14th of December, where we came up and we created this horizontal ascending triangle. I do apologize, on the daily time frame anyway, we created this kind of ascending triangle where we broke that resistance. And look, as soon as we broke that all-time high, the previous cycle high just there, pretty much like, you know, what we're going to attempt to do here. And this is what I mean by this sort of drunken walk that Bitcoin's in right now. It's kind of on its way, but it's running into resistance, coming back for support, for continuation, and that's exactly what it's doing. It's adhering, isn't it? It's adhering to structural support, looking for continuation. Okay, so until it doesn't do that, that's what it's doing. It's looking for continuation. So right now you've got the local high of the previous bull run. You're coming up, you're breaking the resistance of that, and look what happened. You absolutely took off into space. You know, you hit a peak there, you rolled back, you had a whopping correction there for Bitcoin. I think that correction was in January. I remember it very well. You know, we had a 30% correction, and that's what happens in bull markets. Remember that. You know, you could have a whopping 30% correction here and still be bullish, because look, you were still bullish there. You know, this happened. You had a whopping correction there around about, let's have a look. This particular correction just there was in August last year, running into September like we are now, and that was a 20% correction, but you were still in a mega uptrend because you came back to the EMAs. Just like here, you came back to the EMAs, you bounced off to 10 like a boss. So even right now, if you was to correct and have a big correction, you could see where your support levels are on the weekly at least. You know, you're on the 050, you're on the 10 EMA in a golden cross. You know, we've just literally printed a daily golden cross, I think 2 weeks ago, buy and go to the beach signal. You know, this is a precursor of what's to come. These need to be, you need to pay attention to these, because they're like rocking horse shit on the weekly. You know, we printed this last week, and right now you could see that if we do roll over, we could fall back into it as support, just like we did here. You know, you fall back into these as support, like a boss, basically. So yeah, I think that Bitcoin is mega bullish. I do think it's coming back to get its mates to have a go at the brick wall, though. Okay, I think it's coming back to get its mates to have a go at this level of resistance, and that is perfectly healthy. You know, if we do lead into September and have a bit of a dump, then you've got all your breakdown and support targets that must be held for continuation. If you do start to lose them, then yeah, the bias will change from more upside to potential more downside to lower targets. But I don't necessarily anticipate that. But just because I don't anticipate it does not mean it won't happen. Do remember that, okay? So at the minute, you know, we are adhering to structure, we're adhering to support, and we're looking for continuation. So as a thought experiment right here, I just want to show you potentially when we broke this previous local high just there, we went up like this, didn't we? And a lot of people said that this was Wyckoff distribution. Whatever it is, we did still appreciate, and you can see that once we broke the high here, look, you see this green line, this is the all-time high. Okay, do you see this? So once we come up here and potentially break this high, you could see, look, when we come up, meter 107, which is the next impulsive wave target, retrace, get a bit overextended, come back down, potentially come back down to its support, before absolutely melting faces and meeting our 200k in the sort of same time frame. Look, so we could be there by January. You know, if we do go through this massive impulsive wave up, you know, that's what we're looking at. So we could see the year end out at 200k. Who knows? But you would anticipate that if we break this high, we could have a nice little walk up here towards the end of, you know, November, December, or wherever, and we could actually be at 100k, and that would actually line up with this particular tweet from Blockworks saying that 65% of crypto hedge funds predict Bitcoin's price will be between 50,000 and 100k by the end of the year, this year, 2021. So yeah, that, I mean, you've got 4% there that are saying 200k. So I'm in this little crew down there. I'm in the little 4% club. You know, I always like to be in the minority, to be honest with you, because I'm a contrarian thinker, and yeah, I like to think outside the box. I like to believe I do anyway. I think that that's what's got my channel to where it is, to be honest with you. The fact that I'm not like many other technical analysts, and I do tend to think outside the box. That's why I can see pullbacks and continuations sometimes in these charts. But again, I'm not blowing my own trumpet. But yeah, I mean, that's just a bit of thought experiment for Bitcoin, isn't it? You know, you've got your support levels right there. If we take a look at the daily time frame right now for Bitcoin and see what it's doing, okay? So you can see pretty much what you've done. You've come down, you've corrected, you ran into a level of resistance right there. You didn't quite get to our technical target because we lost that W bottom neckline, and we come back down, and we've obviously come down. Right now we're hugging the 050 and the previous swing high, so this is good. Now there is a level of resistance here, okay? Obviously this level of resistance just there that you do need to see broken, but you're coming back at the moment. You are holding support. Now if you do start to roll here, this is where you could actually have a bit more of a correction and come down to this white line. Do you see this? Which would also be the yellow line, which is the daily 20 EMA, which you've not touched for quite a long time. So do anticipate that that is a potential play here. If you do see a larger dump for Bitcoin and it loses this support level at 0.618, which is currently, what is that? That's currently sitting at 47587. So if you do start to see Bitcoin lose that, then do anticipate putting some cheeky bids on this yellow line, because you can see each time you come up, you fall into it, come up, fall into it, come up, fall into it as support. So the current 20 EMA is sitting at 45995 for Bitcoin. So yeah, it's looking good for continuation. You know, you're in a channel here, you're in some kind of level of resistance and level of support. You know, if you continue to do this where you're holding this resistance and support, you know, before you know it, you'll be up here retesting this white line, and you'll be retesting this all-time high for Bitcoin, where I do anticipate you would break through it, okay? But full transparency, if you do start to fall out of this level of resistance and this trading channel that you do find yourself in for Bitcoin, there are a couple of levels of support that do need to hold, obviously. You know, you come back down, hold this 0.50 support, and at that point you would look at the 55 EMA on the daily as holding the support as well, okay? Because if you do start to fall under that, that could be quite negative, and you could actually start to roll here, coming back down. And like I said to you, if you start to fall in this pattern, this reversal pattern of this massive falling wedge that you've broken out of, with that you got technical targets to the upside. If you do start falling back into that, then that is quite negative for Bitcoin. At that point, you know, you would potentially see me flip my switch from a bias of more upside to a potential lower target down here, or a potential retest of this low down here for Bitcoin. But at the minute, I'm adhering to what's in front of me, okay? And that's what I'll always do. That's what I'll always do. You know, there's no hopium. People think it's opium. It's not hopium. It's charts. Charts are printing the signals and telling me a story, and I'm relaying that story to you. So until it doesn't do that, that's when I tell you the opposite of what whatever the charts are saying, basically. So if you lose support, you've got technical targets to the downside, you're breaking resistance and holding that resistance as support, which you're doing right now, okay? You're holding 0.618, and which I've said to you, come up, get overextended, fall back to its support. You're holding it right now, and you're looking at continuation. It really is that simple. So yeah, that's basically Bitcoin, a little update for you today. But I think we've got bearish divergences that keep playing out on Bitcoin. So if we do start to see this trend line broken, that in itself is mega bullish for Bitcoin, because you can see each time it comes up to this trend line, it's getting rejected. So do anticipate, even if you do pick up here, you know, come to your charts, draw this on the daily time frame. You know, if you start to break up here and break out this level of resistance above, and break this level of resistance in the trend line of RSI as well, you know, that is mega bullish within itself. And again, equally, you know, you've got a trend line of support just there, so you can see you're coming into some kind of apex for Bitcoin. So again, if you lose support, you're going to go down. If you come up, you break this resistance, you're going to go up. It's really that easy. So quickly, I'll just show you before I go on the weekly time frame. Don't forget, we have got this trend line that I would like to see retested as support. So with that, you could potentially be looking at a larger retrace, not necessarily here, you know, at some point if we get overextended up here, hit this white line, fall back, this is where you could hit the trend line. So don't anticipate a retest of this trend line at some point as support, and I think that would be an optimal entry point for you, that, you know, that are waiting in the wings, so to speak, for an entry point for Bitcoin. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Thank you for your support once again. Back tomorrow with another update. Bye bye.